if you take away people, if you betray people's preconceived notions on what it is they expect from a character, you can't expect them to buy it.
I think there is a fundamental difference though, between betraying a character completely and changing it up. And see, and what I find funny though is with Marvel though, I think why I prefer DC's kind of their whole comics for everybody thing is because sometimes I think the hard part when you become a comic book fan is easier to get into DC than it was Marvel. With Marvel, you have all these X-Men titles, all these Spider-Man titles, Daredevil titles, all these Avengers titles, and it's like, where the hell do I start? Where do I begin? The Spider-Man, I mean, as much as I love Spider-Man, Spider-Man's like an issue 686 right now.
But Marvel, that's a thing that when you become a Marvel fan, that's the thing that keeps you tied in, because you'll find that a character guy loves Gambit or he loves Deadpool, and so then he wants to collect every comic book that Deadpool's in. And whoa, Deadpool's in 3 different Imminent comics.
Yeah.
Now he's in X-Force. Now he's in over here.
Yeah.
I got a character like that. It's currently the Protector, but he's different enough. It was Marvel Boy. It was Grant Morrison character. And so I'm always tempted to buy a comic book with him because I love that character. You see, it's having this large soap opera of characters that are constantly switching over back and forth. Today, Storm is with Fantastic Four.
I do think
and then tomorrow she'll be with X-Men, and then tomorrow, the day after that, she'll be with Avengers. And bam, they got you collecting 3 titles right there.
Yeah, and that can work. At the same time, though, I think it's a lot harder. We both read comics. As someone who doesn't read comics, though, it's like I want to read X-Men or I want to read that, and then you pick up the comic, and it's like even if you're starting at the beginning of a new arc, it's like, wait, oh no! If you wanted to know that, then you had to read all this. And I appreciate Marvel sticking to their guns and sticking, slow in their version of starting anew is usually just sweeping something under the rug and making you go, that didn't happen. But at the same time, it's hard to really get into it sometimes. And I think that's, one of the reasons I appreciate Marvel, and to an extent, Image, because Image doesn't really have that. It can be just whoosh. It's like, so what? It's a comic, yeah, it's by Image, but it's its own thing. But with DC, the reason I appreciate that is because they have that. We started anew. We have this. If you wanted to know the whole story, or you really want to know a ton, all you have to do is read the past 7, 8 issues.
And when I do read Marvel, I'm reading the titles that are self-contained. I'm reading the She-Hulk was self-contained for a while. X-Force remains self-contained.
Yeah.
Now, Secret Avengers seems self-contained, but now that they've brought it over, I'm going to stop collecting it because it doesn't work.
That's the hard part. Is I appreciate Marvel for sticking, but it's hard for someone who wants to get into something.
But that's what keeps the people. That's what keeps the Marvel fans interested. The Marvel fans love being in this. They actually Marvel fans feel as though they're part of the storyline.
To take a term, and I think we're both getting there, it's a double-edged sword.
It is.
It's a double-edged sword.
It keeps me out, but it keeps the Marvel
people out, but it keeps other people in. And see, that's kind of a problem, is you have Image that goes, we're a comic company, but you know what, you're probably picking this up. Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything, but it's like that. And then you have Title, then you have Marvel. Basically, Image is the, whatever, we're making our own titles, people we'll release a ton of new #1 titles, and keep reading them, whatever, we're not really, Robert Kirkman and those guys are just like, we're just putting these titles out. Marvel and DC has this everything for everybody. Marvel has that double-edged sword. The interesting thing with Dark Horse is, and it's actually one of the things I appreciate with Dark Horse titles, is they really love one thing I love, which is minis. Minis and limiteds. They love doing miniseries, limited series.
And Dark Horse fans like that about them. They know that I can collect this storyline, and then a new storyline in another comic that I like to collect will be picking up as soon as this one's over. Yeah. And that's how.
And I only have to read this to go on.
And they were built like that from the beginning.
Exactly, which
the Star
probably
Wars titles and the Predator titles were built like that, and
it probably explains why they've lasted as long as they have. Besides creating quality work, they've created a system that I think not only works for Dark Horse fans, but works for fans of comics, maybe for people who don't really know comics. I mean, like, I've seen the Hellboy movies. I like the Hellboy movies. Okay, I want to go read Hellboy. Alright, here's this. I know there aren't really a ton of Hellboy titles right now. It's BRPD and Ape Sapien, but that being said, you know, like, looking back hypothetically, oh, here's a Hellboy title. It's 5 issues. You want to know the story? Read these 5 issues. That's it.
And that's all you need.
That's all you need. And I think that's a very good approach. And, you know, it's just this weird kind of, you know, I like the different approaches of the comic industries for different reasons, and they all have their faults.
Bombshell. Bombshell's Image.
Yeah.
Bombshell does the same thing. Bombshell writes. Bombshell is that? No, Bomb Queen.
Bomb Queen.
Bomb Queen from Image writes the same way.
Yeah.
Series of, what is it, 6, 7, 8,
Yeah.
8, and then they're done.
Yeah. And I like that. I appreciate that with comics. But it's one of those hard things sometimes though. And like sometimes I find when you're getting into a new title or you're trying to penetrate a comic, you know, like 600 issues in, and it's finding that place to start and it's finding that place to go. Sometimes I'll find myself dropping a comic not because it's not good, but because even though I'm trying so hard to find this new thing, I can't understand. Justice League Era Asheville was recently canceled. It's going to end after 12 issues in their annual. That's going to be it. The thing is, it's ending. And I like Justice League International. I thought it was a good title. Then again, I love Booster Gold, so yeah.
The only reason, you see, that was the thing that should have kept me collecting it, was the Booster Gold. Jeff Johns' Booster Gold, and then it was picked up by Keith Giffen, and then it was picked up by Dan Jurgens, whatever.
Yeah.
And the thing that Dan Jurgens always gives me now, I have no idea what he's going to write next. Dan Jurgens is an unpredictable writer.
Here's Batwing and OMAC. What?
But the problem being, I just did not think it was a very well written title, and that's why I dropped it off my list.
Yeah.
It was a title. That first storyline.
We're going to kill off most of our characters after 5 issues.
The story with the Signalmen should have been a 2-issue story at least.
3 at most.
3 at most. He dragged us. What was that? 6 issues?
6.
It was, and I had to drop it.
Yeah.
I just had to drop it. The villain was not compelling enough to hold on.
But here was the point of my story: is that with that title, I enjoyed the title. Even, you know, you had the problems with it. I still loved it. I loved the title. But then when I saw it's going to end after 12 issues in the annual, my reaction?
Right.
But see, that's...
There's a lot they could do. I walk around in my back pocket with a plot to Justice League International, actually hoping one day I can sit down and pitch it.
It was one of those things, though, where it was like, you know, when DC, and I've noticed this, like in August, they're planning a huge purge, or at least I'm thinking, since all of their titles have the word final, ending, and then the next month they're doing the issue zeros.
Right, September.
So there's going to probably be a big purge, or at least they're going to start focusing on canceling some comics. Or they said that, you know, like they had the first cancellation after that first 4 or 5 months, but then, you know, they want to bring in more new titles.
Justice League International had a cast of characters that had the greatest potential for use.
They squandered it. Yeah,
they squandered it, and yes, when you consider that you can add to it Batwing and OMAC, which they did at the end, right?
Right? You're right.
And they could have done stuff. They could have gone in so many different directions.
But they just squandered it.
And they squandered the potential. It always comes down to the writing.
And I still liked it.
The artwork was terrific.
No, and I still liked the story. I mean, we're squandering, but I was still reading it. And what I was getting at was when DC takes, like, I'm bringing up the August thing because when DC is going to cancel titles, probably there are some titles I read that are going to get canceled. When DC takes that power away, though, what I've noticed is even with titles that I was picking up that were canceled by DC, I end up being okay with it in the end. And it's that it's just that interesting idea of I'm reading a title. I like the title. Maybe I'm in denial of the title's quality. Maybe I'm in denial of the title in general. But at the end of the day, if DC cancels this comic, if it goes, this title is not within the quality that we as DC think, and they drop it, I don't find myself all up in arms about it. And I think that's interesting, especially when you consider like OMAC. I loved OMAC, and
OMAC bummed me out when they canceled
and I loved OMAC, and I picked up all of OMAC. But when I heard it was canceled, I felt nothing. And I know I'm in the minority there because there were a lot of people who liked it, and it was a good book, and it was a quality book. But I almost sometimes wish that there would be more of that, that more of they're taking the denial away from you.
I felt bad that they canceled OMAC. If they canceled Stormwatch, I'd feel bad. I'd feel bad that they canceled Stormwatch.
I mean, we all have titles we're going to feel bad at.
Batman and Robin. If they canceled the Batman title, Batman and Robin they could cancel. Why? It doesn't have a history. It's not like Batman and it's not like Detective Comics.
Well, what about Dark Knight?
Dark Knight's the same way, but I don't collect Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I'm collecting Batman and Robin. If they DC could conceivably cancel Batman and Robin. Why? It's focusing on Robin.
Yeah, but the thing is, and we're saying that, it's like, oh, well, they could cancel that, and they could cancel it, even though we're reading it. Then here's the thing. Do we subconsciously...
Yes, I would feel bad if they canceled Batman and Robin.
Do we subconsciously, though, I know we want it to succeed, and we'd feel bummed if they cancel it, but with some other titles that were like, well, we may be picking up this, or we just recently dropped it, and DC decides to cancel it, is there a part of us that is going, well, you know what? If DC cancels this title, well then you know what? That's we're kind of like I'm going to pick Grifter up until it's canceled. I know it's going to get canceled. And that's kind of the sad thing. Is I know it's going to get canceled. Rob Liefeld's the closer in the situation. At the same time, though, I'm going to keep picking it up, even though I know in the back of my head that it's going to be canceled, or there's other titles that's going to be canceled. Am I wrong though?
Do you have titles that are going to replace it? Like for instance, in canceling these 3 titles for me, by canceling these 3 titles for me, that opens me up to collect other titles. I might decide that I want to collect Earth 2 Justice Society.
Yeah, no,
or I might not, and if I don't, I'm just going to pick up another title.
See, that's I recently canceled Aquaman, Flash, and all these other titles. In its place, I'm picking up Batman Incorporated now, and I'm picking up...
Right, Batman Incorporated is one that's replacing.
I'm picking up Batman Incorporated now, and I can confidently keep picking up Earth 2 and World's Finest. Like, I was going to pick those 2 up anyway just to see what the first issues were like, but now that I've canceled Aquaman and Flash, as well as, all these other titles, it's like, now I can pick these up. There is a replacement for them.
But so DC, in other words, is shooting themselves in the foot at the same time that in Marvel also, there's a lot of comic books coming out. Yeah. There's comic books that this story doesn't even pick up.
They can keep doing that. And see, that's the...
So, but if they have to know that if they cancel a title, or if they
have to have something
to
replace it.
And which they're doing that actually. They are actually doing that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.